When you sit down to play a single-player game, sometimes you don't just want a weekend story. You want something that can take over your life for weeks, even months. That's exactly what today's list is all about. We're diving into 15 incredible single-player games that are worth spending 100 hours or more. Now, this isn't really a countdown, more like a collection of legendary journeys, each one different, each one capable of pulling you in so deep you'll forget the clock exists. From cozy island living to dark fantasy kingdoms to futuristic neon cities, these games prove that the best experiences don't always end when the credits roll. Some of them keep expanding, some just refuse to let go, and others are simply so good you'll want to replay them again and again. So let's start at number 15 and work our way through these unforgettable adventures. 15. Dead Cells. Dead Cells is one of those games that makes the phrase, "just one more run," turn into 5 more hours. This roguelike thrives on its fast-paced combat, evolving biomes, and an arsenal of weapons that always feels fresh no matter how many times you dive in. The developers have kept it alive for years with new updates and DLC, turning what could have been a short indie experiment into an endless addiction. Of course, not everyone vibes with its brutal difficulty. Some players say it's too punishing, while others love mastering the challenge and shaving seconds off their speedruns. But that's the beauty of Dead Cells. No two runs are the same, and you'll always feel like you're discovering something new. And if this is how addictive a 2D roguelike can be, wait until we step into a sprawling 3D world. 14. Dwarf Fortress. If Dead Cells is endless because of its randomness, Dwarf Fortress is endless because of its sheer complexity. This is the game you'll never finish, where every playthrough feels like a new saga waiting to unfold. What started as an ASCII colony simulator has grown into a legendary cult classic, now with a Steam version that finally adds modern graphics and sound while keeping all the madness intact. You're not just managing dwarves here, you're creating entire civilizations, digging into mountains, defending from invaders, and watching bizarre, hilarious disasters play out in ways no other game can replicate. And the best part? Failure isn't the end, it's the point. That's why fans coined the motto, "Losing is fun." Of course, its absurd difficulty curve scares many players away. It takes patience, guides, and sometimes pure stubbornness to even scratch the surface. But for the few who stick with it, Dwarf Fortress becomes a never-ending story generator like no other. But what if you want deep systems with a bit more accessibility? 13. Europa Universalis 4. If Dwarf Fortress is about guiding a colony, Europa Universalis 4 takes things to a whole new scale, controlling entire nations across centuries. This is the kind of grand strategy game where 100 hours doesn't make you a veteran. It just means you've completed your tutorial. From the rise and fall of empires to the delicate balance of religion, trade, diplomacy, and war, Europa Universalis 4 lets you rewrite history on your terms. Maybe you want to restore the Byzantine Empire, or turn a Trini island nation into a world superpower. The possibilities are practically infinite. Of course, the game isn't without controversy. Its long list of DLCs has sparked debates over whether it's too expensive to keep up with. But fans argue the replayability and depth are unmatched, making it worth every expansion. From shaping entire countries, let's zoom into personal stories that define an RPG. 12. Persona 2: Innocent Sin. Before Persona became famous worldwide with flashy menus and social links, there was Persona 2: Innocent Sin, a darker, more mysterious chapter that still holds a special place in JRPG history. This game blends school life with supernatural battles, but instead of focusing on style, it dives deep into heavy themes like rumors shaping reality, psychological struggles, and the blurred lines between truth and fiction. One of its most unique features is the rumor system, where spreading gossip can literally change the world around you. Combine that with turn-based combat and complex characters, and you've got a story that refuses to leave your head even after the credits roll. The problem is, it's often overshadowed by Persona 3, 4, and 5. Many fans never touched it, while diehards argue it's one of the best in the entire franchise. Thanks to fan translations and later official releases, more players finally got the chance to experience it. If you thought this was a long JRPG journey, wait until you see how far Xenoblade goes. 11. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the kind of JRPG where every step feels like you're exploring a living, breathing world. Vast fields stretch out before you, enemies roam naturally, and the soundtrack makes each area feel unforgettable. It's not just about exploration either. The combat system is deep, tactical, and endlessly rewarding once you learn to master it. What really pushes this game into the 100+ hour club is its story. Emotional, mature, and unafraid to dive into heavy themes, Xenoblade 3 builds on everything the series has done before, while giving players a heartfelt narrative that sticks with them long after the ending. Side quests add even more hours, turning the world into a place you actually want to get lost in. Of course, fans will never stop debating which Xenoblade is the best. Some swear by the original, others defend the flashy second entry, but this third chapter often stands out for being the most polished and emotionally resonant of the bunch. And speaking of emotional stories, let's head into the futuristic battlefields of Horizon. 10. Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn throws you into a post-apocalyptic world where humanity has fallen back into tribal life and towering robot dinosaurs rule the land. You play as Aloy, an outcast turned hunter who slowly unravels the mystery of her past while uncovering the secrets behind the machines that dominate the Earth. The gameplay is a perfect mix of stealth, survival, and explosive combat. Taking down a massive Thunderjaw with traps and precision arrows feels like a boss fight every single time. Add in the breathtaking environments, from snowy mountains to lush jungles, and it's a game that demands exploration. Critics have pointed out that some quests fall into the classic open-world checklist trap, but the main story and rich lore more than make up for it. And with plenty of side activities, collectibles, and expansions, it's easy to push past 100 hours before you even realize it. But if you want something even more old-school epic, Baldur's Gate is calling. 9. Baldur's Gate 2. Baldur's Gate 2 is the Dungeons & Dragons RPG that set the gold standard for storytelling in games, with an isometric view, deep choice-driven narrative, and a party system that lets you customize your companions. It's a game where every decision feels meaningful. Whether you're negotiating with a cunning villain or exploring a hidden dungeon, the world reacts to you in ways few games manage even today. The modern community has kept BG2 alive for decades, adding new quests, graphical updates, and quality-of-life improvements that keep players coming back. Fans still debate how it stacks up against modern CRPGs like Divinity Original Sin 2, but the enduring love for BG2 proves its storytelling and design are timeless. And from fantasy legends, we jump to one of Nintendo's darker Zelda tales. 8. Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Twilight Princess is the Zelda game that dared to go dark. Originally released on the GameCube and Wii, later remastered on the Wii U, it shifted away from the colorful style of Wind Waker and embraced a more mature, moody tone. The world feels heavier, the characters more grounded, and the story dives into themes of corruption and Twilight consuming the land. One of its standout features is the Wolf Link transformation, which added unique puzzles and combat mechanics that made it unlike any other Zelda entry. Combine that with some of the series' most iconic dungeons like Arbiter's Grounds and Snow Peak Ruins, and you've got a game that leaves a lasting mark on the franchise. Fans constantly compare it to Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time. Some say it's underrated, others place it firmly in the middle of the pack. But there's no denying it carved out its own identity in Zelda's history. And if Twilight Princess felt gritty, wait until you step into the underworld of Yakuza. 7. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza Like a Dragon flipped the entire series on its head and somehow pulled it off. Instead of the traditional beat-em-up combat, it went full turn-based RPG, complete with party members, job classes, and over-the-top special moves. On paper, it sounded like a risky move. In practice, it gave us one of the most memorable RPGs of the generation. The heart of the game is Ichiban Kasuga, a brand new protagonist who's equal parts goofy, loyal, and determined to rise from nothing. His story mixes serious crime drama with some of the most absurd comedy you'll ever see in a video game. One moment you're taking down gangsters, the next you're chasing a man in his underwear or running a business empire. With a main campaign easily topping 100 hours once you add in side quests and crazy minigames, Like a Dragon is proof that reinvention can keep a long-running series fresh. Some fans were nervous about the shift away from the old formula, but many ended up loving it, and now the series has two distinct styles. But if you prefer a slower pace, there's always a cozy life waiting in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Animal Crossing New Horizons is the kind of game where 100 hours can feel like a weekend getaway. It's not about rushing through quests or grinding out levels. It's about shaping your own little island paradise day by day, season by season. From designing your house to decorating the landscape, it's a life sim that rewards creativity and patience. When it launched in 2020, it became a worldwide phenomenon. Stuck at home, millions of players found comfort in fishing, trading turnips, and visiting each other's islands. It was more than just a game. It became a social space, a creative outlet, and for some, a much-needed escape. Of course, not everything was perfect. Fans loved the freedom, but often criticized Nintendo's slow and limited updates, wishing the game had even more long-term support. Still, with so much customization and replayability, many players easily sunk hundreds of hours into it without ever realizing it. But if comfort isn't your style, let's talk about pure chaos, Cyberpunk 2027. Cyberpunk 2027 is one of the rare games that went from industry disaster to redemption story. At launch, it was infamous for bugs, crashes, and broken promises. But over the years, CD Projekt Red pushed out update after update, refining Night City into the sprawling sci-fi epic it was always meant to be. With the Phantom Liberty expansion, it finally lived up to the hype. Night City itself is the real star here, a massive neon-drenched world packed with secrets, gangs, and storylines that branch depending on your choices. Whether you're hacking through corporate systems or going full guns blazing mercenary, no two playthroughs feel the same. Add in new systems, improved AI, and hours of side content, and you can easily spend 100+ hours without even touching the main quest. Of course, debates still rage about its rocky launch. Some players can't forgive how messy it was, while others now consider it one of the most immersive RPGs ever made. Either way, Cyberpunk 2027 has cemented its place as a comeback story for the ages. And if you want a challenge as brutal as Night City's streets, Dark Souls awaits you. 4. Dark Souls series. Dark Souls didn't just create a game, it created an entire subgenre. This is the series that turned You Died into a badge of honor, where every brutal defeat makes every victory feel 10 times sweeter. With legendary boss fights, interconnected world design, and lore hidden in cryptic item descriptions, Dark Souls rewards patience and curiosity like no other. Each entry in the trilogy has its loyal defenders. Dark Souls 1 is praised for its masterful world design, Dark Souls 3 for its polish and speed, while Elden Ring has taken the formula open world and sparked endless debates. Which is the best? Depends on who you ask, and you'll never get the same answer twice. What's undeniable is how much time you can lose here. Learning enemy patterns, exploring hidden paths, and diving into fan theories can eat up hundreds of hours without you realizing it. It's not just about surviving, it's about embracing the struggle and carving your own legend. But if you want to lose yourself in an RPG with political depth, Fallout has you covered. 3. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas is the Fallout where your choices truly matter. Set in the Mojave Wasteland, it puts you in the middle of a power struggle between factions, and the way you align yourself can completely reshape the future of New Vegas. Every decision, from the smallest dialogue choice to the biggest battle, leaves a mark. Obsidian storytelling shines here. The branching factions, deep role-playing options, and morally great choices make it one of the most replayable RPGs ever made. And that's before you even touch the thriving modding community, which has added new content, bug fixes, and entire quest lines for over a decade. Fans still argue endlessly about which Fallout is the best. Many point to Fallout 3 for nostalgia, or Fallout 4 for accessibility. But New Vegas is often crowned as the series' true masterpiece, a game that still holds up today despite its rough edges. But what if you want a JRPG epic with as much complexity? Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age. 2. Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age. Final Fantasy XII is the entry that dared to feel different. Set in the massive world of Evilis, it swapped out the traditional turn-based combat for something that felt closer to an MMO, real-time battles with strategic gambits that let you program your party's behavior. The result was a system that was either genius or overwhelming, depending on who you asked. The Zodiac job system gave the game incredible replayability, letting you shape your party in countless ways. And with the HD remaster, The Zodiac Age, Square Enix polished the visuals, streamlined the mechanics, and gave the game the redemption arc it deserved. At launch, fans were split, some calling it too political and slow, others admiring its maturity and ambition. But over time, 12 has grown into one of the most respected entries in the series, especially for players who want an RPG with real strategic depth. And finally, the one RPG where 100 hours feels like just the beginning. 1. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 isn't just a game, it's an experience. One quest can feel like an entire novel, filled with complex characters, moral ambiguity, and consequences that ripple across its expansive open world. From the bustling streets of Novigrad to the wind-swept peaks of Skellige, every location feels alive, detailed, and waiting to be explored. Its storytelling earned it countless awards, and the expansions only make it better. Blood and Wine alone adds 30-plus hours of new adventures, vibrant regions, and unforgettable characters. Whether you're slaying monsters, navigating political intrigue, or searching for Geralt's lost love, time flies by, and before you know it, you've invested hundreds of hours without even realizing it. Fans constantly debate its place in gaming history, and it frequently appears in greatest games of all time discussions. With good reason. Few single-player experiences are this deep, detailed, and rewarding. These are just 15 journeys, but which single-player game took over your life? Drop it in the comments below. And there you have it, 15 incredible single-player games that can easily consume 100 hours of your life. From sprawling open worlds to deep strategy, from emotional RPGs to cozy life sims, these games prove that some adventures are worth getting completely lost in. Of course, this list is just a starting point. Every gamer has that one single-player experience that left them hooked, challenged, or completely mesmerized. So now it's your turn. Which game took over your life and kept you glued to the screen for hours on end? Drop your picks in the comments below, and let's see which adventures the community can't stop playing. Whether you're revisiting a classic or discovering a hidden gem for the first time, remember, the best journeys aren't measured in hours, but in the memories and stories you create along the way.